I didn't get much done yesterday. Spent the whole day in Starbucks uploading videos and photos, backing up my data. I did do a lot of research though. Decided not to go to Saint Pierre, the French island off the coast of Newfoundland. Seemed like a lot of trouble for what didn't look like a whole lot of excitement to me. I did some research on the car, looked at the maintenance schedules. This is because my brakes are starting to squeak a bit when I press on them pretty hard. So there's probably, the pads are probably starting to wear out, and I was trying to figure out how long I have, whether I can last until getting back to North Sydney, or if I needed to stay in St. John and get the work done. But because staying in St. John would probably be a 2 or 3 day delay, I think I'll try and wait until North Sydney to get it done. I also cleared off enough space on my phone that even though I couldn't back up everything, I think I have enough space to get through the rest of Newfoundland. Fingers crossed, hopefully. So yeah, we'll see. Camped at a nice spot, Topsail Rotary Park, just outside Newfoundland, or just outside St. John. I'm gonna see some fossil beds in a little park beside a river, and then start heading north out of St. John to some viewpoints, and start to see kind of the northern Newfoundland, hopefully get off the Avalon Peninsula today. Turns out the trail to the fossils is closed. Alright, today has not turned out how I expected, but that's not a bad thing. I woke up this morning and decided that since my brakes have been squeaking for the last 2 days, they just really started squeaking a bit. That it would be prudent to get them fixed or replaced in St. John's before I head up north, because there aren't probably very many population centers further up north, so it would be harder. And it's about 2,000 kilometers up to Labrador and back to North Sydney and Nova Scotia. So went to a Starbucks and called a shop, and they're able to look at it tomorrow morning. So instead of leaving St. John, I decided to stay a day, and that gave me the morning to finish uploading all my photos and videos, so I'm caught up on there. And then I decided to go to, since I have the day now, I decided to go to the Rooms, which is the city's essentially a museum and art gallery. It's pretty cool because there was the history of Newfoundland, and then there was some group of 7 paintings, some Emily Carr paintings. That was pretty cool. I apologize about the wind, but until I can get back somewhere where I can Amazon a microphone, I can't really do much about it. And so yeah, the rooms were pretty cool. I wasn't originally planning on going, but it's only $6.50 if you're a student, and I wasn't gonna go because the building looks kind of ugly to me from the outside, which is like judging a book by its cover, but I do that a lot. That's how I pick my books, reviews and covers and titles. And same with architecture, I go where places look cool to me. But the inside was cool. Museum was pretty cool. Afterwards, I just tried to go to a park, an outdoor park with a pool to have a shower. But this one was closed, either for annual cleaning, or yesterday there was a Yesterday there was a rec center that the workers were on strike, so that's why it was closed. And then I looked at another pool and it was closed for all of August for annual maintenance. And I was kind of like, why is it closed in August for maintenance? That's like prime month for being in pools. And anyways, so now I'm gonna go to the rooms also had very good Wi-Fi, so I was able to upload a video there. And if all things go well, get the brakes replaced, and hopefully that doesn't cost too much. Hopefully it's just the front and not the back too, but I suspect it will be both. Which kind of sucks because I spent like 500 bucks in Bridgewater doing the wheels and all that, and this is going to be another like 500 or 700 or something. And even though I got the car for really cheap, I just didn't think I'd be spending so much on maintenance so soon. But it is what it is, and it's better done here and now than later, I think. So that's the plan. There wasn't much else to do for the rest of the day, so I hung out at a park and I was going to do some voiceovers, but there was too much noise, so I just got a few photos of some sailboats going by. That's a seal. Well, I'm not sure if I made a mistake. Might just be the weather too, it's kind of cloudy today. But I dropped the car off at the mechanic first thing, 8 a.m. and they said they'd look at it within an hour, and then if the brakes need being done, it's 2 hours per axle, so either 2 or 4 hours. And it's now 10 o'clock and they haven't called me because they're a bit behind. And since yesterday I found out that it was actually the back brake that was squeaking a bit, but only on one side. I'm kind of just wondering if the brakes have enough life in them to get back to Sydney or somewhere else that I can just get a bit more life out of them. 2,000 kilometers to get back to Sydney would be a bit more life out of them. So I'm just kind of walking around. It's like not much around. I was sitting in a McDonald's and it's like a 40-minute walk to a Starbucks, but if I'm here for another 4 hours, might as well go to a Starbucks. But then maybe, I mean, they said they'd look at it before they did anything, and so I'm like, they're probably going to tell me to replace the brakes, but if I don't, do I not, so that I can do them in Sydney? And will they be informative enough to tell me how much life is left in them that I can get to Sydney, or they'll just be like, oh no, you should do your brakes, you have to do your brakes. So I'm not feeling too good about it right now, but I'm just waiting around, really, just waiting around. Just got the call from the mechanic at 11, 3 hours later. Seems that I thought it was the back tires that were screeching, but maybe it was in fact the front, because apparently the front brakes, the rotors are screeched or scratched on the back or something. But the pads have 6 millimeters left, and so that's like halfway through their life. And the rear are 7 millimeters left, so they still have lots left. So I've decided, they said it would cost about $500 to replace the front, take 2 hours. Decided not to do it. Because she said it's just noise and vibration, but I am not feeling any vibration when I brake. It's just the noise, the scratching, the screeching. And so I thought that was the indicator, meaning that the pads were like 2 millimeters or like almost gone. Seeing as they're 6 mils, and it's the rotors that are scratched or screed or whatever, I'm gonna continue on my trip, finally get out of New St. John's, and get the stuff done, replaced in back in Toronto, so that gets some extra life out of the breaks and puts me on schedule for when I anticipated needing to do the breaks and anyways. So I really want to get out of this city. I've been here 3 days and I'm really ready to move on and continue on this trip. I'm on the Skerwink Trail. Hopefully the wind's not too bad because it's been quite a windy day. Left St. John and had a shower. Saw a sign for community center going through the town. And so I pulled in and asked them, hey, can I just have a shower? And they're like, oh yeah, sure, go on in. So that was nice. And now this trail is one of the most famous, highly rated trails in the province. So hiking it and seeing what pictures I get. I'm racing the sun for photos, but there's also a ton of wild blueberries. A storm rolled in that night, but the next morning I was able to drive through the rain to Elston, where there's a puffin colony. As far as I know, this is one of the most popular places in Newfoundland to see puffins. I was at the end of the season, so there were only a few, but that was still like 1,000 birds. Cape Bonavista is also home to Dungeons Provincial Park, a very tiny park that has some interesting rock formations, as well as the Bonavista Lighthouse. Apparently John Chabot landed here in 1497, and this is where they think he first spotted the New World. The Ryan Premises National Historic Site was a pleasant surprise. I thought it was just an old building, but actually inside they had a museum and a demonstration on how cod was processed when it was a fishing community. Most of all, I loved how many miniature boat models they had. And after, I was able to have brewies, which is a traditional Newfoundland food. I'm in Terra Nova National Park. And I've always wanted to come here, mostly because of the name. But I'm at Orchard Hill Lookout Tower, and there's a dope looking tower in front of me. This was an old fire tower, and I couldn't get to the top because there was a lock on the gate, but from the second last landing, it was still quite an impressive view. I was kind of surprised that the national park doesn't have much else to offer. It has a few hiking trails, and I guess there's like an inlet you can boat on, but otherwise I didn't really spend much time here because just wasn't much to do. So I'm about an hour north of Terra Nova National Park at the town of Dover, the town with the fault, and it is it's where there's a fault through a tectonic fault through the middle of town. Apparently, Newfoundland is made up of two continents, the Laurentina and the Gondwana, that collided together, and when they collided together, the pressure created a fault in this town that runs through the middle of the town. And I thought you might be able to see like a really strong indication of different rock types and stuff, but from up here on the lookout, it doesn't look like it. It's just like some landscape. On the flip side, this town has a lot of erratics, so I've seen a lot of erratics just strewn around everywhere, so that's kind of cool. I'm just catching the last bit of sunset at Gander Lake. There's a forest interpretation center here, and I was trying to get further north towards Fogo Island tonight, but it's another like almost 2-hour drive, I think, maybe an hour and a half, and it seemed like it was a bit rushing it. And part of the reason I wanted to get to this campsite was because it was a campsite called Dildo Run. Part of the reason I wanted to get there was because of the showers and the laundry, but then I also realized if I rushed there, I'd get there at like 9 at the earliest, and then I don't know if I really wanted to do laundry that early, and then I'd just be anxious to do it the next morning, but the next morning I want to go to Fogo Island. So I just said I'd just stop here a bit early, but give me some time to just like relax for a bit, and then go to Fogo Island tomorrow, kind of like just cruise my way there without having to rush. The ferry's at 11:30. The ferries are like 8:30 and then 11:30. So I'll have plenty of time in the morning just to cruise up there, maybe stop at one place and then take the ferry over. And then I think I might try and camp at Dildo Run tomorrow night, seeing how long it takes to go through Fogo Island. But for now, get to enjoy the last of twilight. The colors in the sky suggest that tomorrow's going to be a really nice day. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe to help grow the channel.